Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of the Outer Realm. We're broadcasting live right here in the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey since day one. So thank you, Folgers. We appreciate you so very much and could not be here without you. Also, truly grateful for Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, aka Justin Snicker, who is the voice of the music of the intro and outro here at the Outer Realm. So big thank you to Dr. Snick. Check him out. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music. And you can find it on places like Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon. I could go on and on and on and on, but just go check him out. Also, big thank you to illustrator Steve McGinnis, who is the artist behind the banners and the logos here at the Outer Realm. He can be found on Facebook and Instagram. Now, tonight, we welcome for the very first time Barbara DeLong, and she's going to be discussing her new book, which is co-written by Ken, I hope I don't butcher this, Goudsward. And it's entitled Before Roswell, The Secret History of UFOs. And we're also going to be touching on UFOs in the spiritual realm. So that's going to be really interesting, to say the least. Chris, you made it. Oh, my word. Look at you. Time to boot. Welcome. Always happy to see you in chat. Wow. Love it. So, this is going to be really exciting. UFOs, do they have a place in spiritualism? I don't know. You guys have to check out this woman's website. She is just phenomenal. We're just waiting for her to come on. BarbaraDeLong.com, UFOs and Spiritual Realm. There is like a whole blog on this stuff. And it's just, she's got so much stuff here. It is unbelievable. I can't even let's just go through some of this. The UFO conundrum, extraterrestrial paradigm, UFO crashes, disclosure, close encounters of a historical kind, close encounters of a biblical kind, cover-ups, UFO quotes, United States legislature. I mean, this goes on and on and on. 45,000 BCE to 9 AD, and she goes back and just moves forward. And it's just loaded with information. I could not stop perusing her site. And it's not just UFO, guys. Oh my gosh. She talks about so many different things. We actually had to book her again just because she's just, she's versed in so many different things. So let's definitely check her out. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Anyway, you all notice that Bubbles isn't with me tonight. She's still not feeling well. Hey, Tamara. She's still not feeling well. So we're really hoping that she's going to get on the mend pretty soon. And, kind of weird just not seeing my little bubbly compadre across from me. But while we're sitting here waiting for Barbara, never mind. She's here. Yay. All right. Look at me going on. I know, poor Bubbles. It's terrible to be sick, but it is a time of year, right? Anyway, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I am just super. Thank you.
Oh, super. I like that. I've really been looking forward to this. I was just explaining before you came on that I was perusing the website and I literally just got lost in it because I just wanted to talk about everything, and I know we can't because we only have a couple of hours, if that. And it's really diverse. I mean, you talk about so many things.
I do. I do. It's intentionally an umbrella so I can put almost anything up there
Yeah.
and do.
Yeah.
So it's every now and then I freak out my web tech guy and I call him and I say, I think I want to make a change. And it's like, oh no, we just got it all straight again.
Like, what'd you do now?
Yeah, that's about it.
I love it though. I love it. Leave you to your own devices and it just gets more and more amazing.
Well,
So,
every now and then there's a new toy to play with. And
right.
recently I discovered the globe that revolves,
Oh,
and anybody who hits the website gets a dot.
oh,
So Mark will tell you that I'm a number person.
right,
I
right.
chase numbers. It's not so much I just they for some reason fascinate me. So, I had a friend who went to a funeral in India, and it was a family funeral, and it was,
Oh,
like where everybody comes and sits on the floor and everything. And I said to her, "Look, if you have spare time, get everybody to, just hit the website so I get a dot." And she she said,
at the
"Are
funerals, do it.
uh, she said, "Are you serious?" I said, "It's gonna be boring after a while." And I got 6 or 7 dots in India. Um,
Ooh,
I I
very
I don't think they
nice.
even speak English, but I have dots there now.
I love it.
So, and my son
You know,
my son
yeah,
you know, my
that's
son is
exactly what
recently on
Marcus.
my
Oh,
son's
that's what
recently
he's.
on a trip, and, I said, "Where are you going?" And he told me, and I said, "Oh," he said, "I know, you want a dot there. I'll tune into your website and give you a dot." And eventually I will find something else to perseverate on, but right now I'm perseverating on dots. So if anybody wants to give me a dot, you don't even have to look at the website. Just
Yes, you
just
do.
tune into tune into barbaradelong.com and give me a dot.
Okay, I'll give you a dot because I'm actually in Canada, even though I stream out of New Orleans.
Well, it's actually I'm in 27 countries so far with dots.
Very
So
nice.
I'm
Very
very excited.
nice. I love it. Everybody get over there and give her a dot
Give me a
from all over
dot,
the world.
yeah.
Well,
And there's
we're all over the world, so
well, yeah. And it's really it's funny. I have this thing about numbers, and it's been something forever. It's not so much that I'm going to beat anybody, it's more beat myself and see just
right,
how far I can take something.
right.
So
I think
so
it's fantastic. Mark's like, no, I don't do math. She
no, no.
likes numbers, but I don't do math.
Well, actually, I beat the bushes when we were real close to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. And
Ooh.
so once we passed 3,000, I said to him, "I promise I'm not haunting the numbers anymore until we get close to some, place where we're crossing a threshold, and then I'll freak you out again."
Watch out, it's coming, it's coming. Stevie No Wonder says, sending you a cosmic dot. On the website, throw it in there somewhere.
Okay.
Well, welcome, to the show. It's just such an honor to have you here. Like I said, I just got completely lost in all of the information. And I like to start off with, especially when there's this much information, it's humble beginnings. What brought you down this path? Because you are many paths. I don't even know which path you started on, but wow.
Well, I think actually the really cool thing about it all is I never started out with, "Oh, this will look good on the resume." I didn't even have a resume. I was married out of college and had a child and taught school. I am that little old lady school teacher who hugs the right lane on the highways here in Nashville now. But it just it one point in time, I got drawn into the spiritual realms, and it battled for a while with my teaching career, and people kept saying you have to do it full time, and I kept saying, you have any idea what I make as a teacher with 2 master's degrees? Yeah.
Exactly. It's hard
Yeah,
time for now.
single parent with child in school.
Right.
No. and
Right.
and
Right.
and I caution everybody to be careful what they say,
Right.
because I said one time too many, when I retire, I will do this full time. Within a week, I had a car accident that forced me to leave teaching.
Oh my word. Somebody wanted you doing this full time.
I would say so. So I was retired in my 40s.
Wow.
Big lawsuit,
Wow.
the whole thing, but I
Yeah.
was, and it was,
Yeah.
I think one of the things, I had been doing readings and stuff like that prior.
Mm.
And so when I had the car accident and was laid up, so to speak, my mother said, "Well, at least you have the readings." And I said, "No, no, not doing any readings anymore." And she said, "Why?" And I said, "Because if the universe wants to be in this field, they're going to have to prove it to me."
Oh,
And I lived with my mother, so, I wasn't gonna be put out on the street.
right.
At least I don't think she considered it, but, um, she may have. Um, so we waited, and somebody said to me, "Have you applied for disability?" And I said, "I have a job. I just am on leave, and, that's ridiculous." And they said, "No, you deserve it. Apply for it." And I applied, and they told me it could take a year before you're approved. I said, "That's okay. I really, I'm doing it because I was told to."
Right.
And a week later, I was approved. And
Wow.
my mother said to me, "Okay, now you're going to start doing the readings again." And I said, "Nope, this is nothing. This is not even close to my paycheck. Forget that." And about 2 months later, and the bills were mounting. And my mother said, "I can feed you and I can house you, but I can't pay your bills."
Oh
And
no.
a week later, I was. Somebody mentioned to me, "Didn't you sign up for the insurance for if something happened to you?" And I said, "Well, yeah, but I only made one payment. I can't imagine that policy is in effect." They probably ran for the hills. And
Uh-huh.
they said, "No, check it out." And I did, and I got another check. So now
Barbara's like, yes. This is
that's what my mother did. She was so thrilled, it was unbelievable. And I
right.
said, "Doesn't even come close."
Yeah.
And about a month or two later, they forced me into early retirement, and my
Wow.
retirement check, between the 3 checks,
Mhm.
it added up to exactly what my last paycheck was.
Wow.
I said, "Now I'll do readings."
Right. So, well, I don't believe in coincidences, so I find that really, really interesting. I'm big on synchronicities, and the universe delivers. It really does. So you decided, now I'm getting into this full time. Where did you start? I mean, there's so much information. Where did you start dabbling? And I'm just going to write about this, or actually this, or this, or
No, I had been in a spiritual development class in a spiritualist church for 7 years,
oh, wonderful,
and so I had
wonderful.
been doing readings and stuff like that as a sideline. It was fun. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
And then it got a little more serious, and I started to write. And I did personal Mandelas for people for a number of years,
Mhm.
and there are about 500 of them all over the world.
Wow.
And and after I took a look at them, and I thought, well, these are kind of cool, but wouldn't it be cool to do a deck of cards using the Mandelas? Because there's no deck out there that is aimed at spiritual development.
Mm.
It's all aimed at prognostication.
Right. Right.
So I painted the deck, and from the first drawing to signing with a publisher, it was 9 months, which I thought was very synchronistic.
Yes.
Um, and I told the publisher, it was U.S. Games, and I said to him, this deck is a sleeper. This was 31 years ago. I said, "This deck
Wow.
is not ready for the public." He,
Right.
he published it anyhow. He wanted the artwork,
Right.
and not too long ago they stopped publishing the deck, and then the demand for the deck, of course, got so high it was unbelievable. The only one I can find is on ABE Books, and they want $200 for it.
Jeepers.
So a
That's
friend of mine,
congratulations. Wonderful.
well, yeah, it's going to sit there a long time, I'm sure. Um, but a friend of mine kept pushing me and saying, you need to republish the deck, and you need to write a handbook with it. And so I looked into it, and then I looked out of it because the cost was too high. There was no way
Right.
as retired
Right.
that I could do that.
Right.
And so through Mark, I met Ken Goudsworth,
Mhm.
and we got to talking one day. And he said, "Well, I'll publish it for you." So
Wonderful.
it is costing me nothing.
Right.
And the deck of cards is almost ready to be reissued as an octagon shape instead of a circle.
Oh, very nice.
And the handbook, which I was supposed to write 31 years ago, but didn't, and I'm glad I didn't because I'm so much, well, the word is older, but I have,
Seasoned?
see, I'm more seasoned, yes.
Right.
And the handbook is now, I think, I've got it'll be handed to him probably before June and then published probably June, July, but it's running about 400 pages,
Wow, that's one heck of a handbook.
all
You don't
spiritual.
mess around.
No, no. I mean,
Wow.
and when I was talking to my computer tech guy, he said, yeah, because I said, this is work. And he said, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I said, no, power's out. There's no light at the end of this tunnel.
Right. It's a train. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
there's no candle, there's no flicker, there's no nothing. It's black.
Wow.
But it's not. I'm about halfway through.
So it
So,
was much easier the first time around, is what you're saying.
well, when you write the little right book for the deck,
Yeah.
it's little phrases and things like that
Mm,
people use to read the cards for
yes.
themselves.
Yes.
Now it becomes a spiritual instruction guide as to things like I don't know, look upon your body as a car and the
Mm,
spirit riding within. And if you can't, the only difference between your body as a car and a car is that you can't trade your body in for a newer model, a different color, or more options.
exactly.
So if you don't take care of it, you can
Yes.
choose to chug your way through life or you can glide through life because you've taken care of your body.
Right. Right.
But
No, she wrote a handbook that went with the deck. That was 400 pages. You have to wait for this one. It's going to be amazing.
it
Okay.
actually it is, and we're publishing it in color so
Wow.
that people will see the mandalas and
Yes.
it's
Beautiful.
it's gonna be spectacular, and then there's another book right behind that called 101 Questions, Spiritual Questions.
Oh, wow. So you're a busy lady.
I'm
You're a very
crazy.
busy lady.
Yeah.
And somewhere in all of this, you wrote a book. Now, before we get to the book, like
Actually, 2 books.
two okay, what's the other book? I'm looking at
It
Before Roswell.
it's called Whispers of Spiritual Wisdom. It just came out.
Oh, okay, Mark, you're supposed to let me know these things. But you're slacking, buddy.
Yeah, it's a book of poetry, but poetry with short, I call them blurbs, one-page, spiritual philosophies with it so that you get a
Right,
poem and a blurb.
right. Oh, poem and a blurb. Wow, I love it. I love it. You certainly are busy. I mean, you just keep popping them out, and that's no easy feat. That's just a
No.
lot of brain work. My gosh. And you keep up with this amazing website that I
Yes.
got lost in today. It's just like, oh
It
my God.
the website is a lot of fun because when
Yeah,
I originally did it, it looked like everybody else's website, and
yeah.
I finally said to the tech, people are different today. They spend 3 seconds looking and flashing away.
Mm,
So if you have drop-down menus, they're not gonna look at them.
right,
So I want to put the drop-down menus on the front page.
right.
And she said, "No, nobody does that." And I said, "Is it against the law?" And she said, "No,
Then do
but
it.
nobody does that." And I said,
Right,
"Well, if you don't want to do it, I'll find somebody who will." And she did it.
right.
And
Oh,
I
it's spectacular.
I
Yeah.
love it. It just, because you're drawn in by the graphics, and then when you click on one of the graphics, there's a couple hundred other things you can look at.
Can I share it? Can I
Sure.
share it and show it? Okay, one second. Let me come in here and see if I can. I have to stop screen on this one. One second. We're going to go share this right up. Bear with me, people, because you guys have to see this. This is amazing. Okay. We're going to share this. Okay. So here we go. As we can see, It's just got, like, it's got everything. Okay, this is where I started out, and I ended up right back here. I was like, what did she say about this again? It's just like amazing. So of course you're looking at, this is again just UFOs, and you have
Mhm.
the home. So let's go to home. There we go. I mean, come on, people. Look at this stuff. It's amazing. Secrets of the Stones, aha moments. That one sounds like actually really interesting.
It
I
is. It is.
oh, it's all like
Keep
amazing.
going. You'll see the globe.
Okay, wait. Oh, okay,
There's the
hold on.
globe. Actually,
Do I
there.
do I just get this one here?
It
Or do
doesn't matter. It's two of the same. They're going to have to take one of them off.
it's not letting me do anything. Or do I just click on it? Is that all I have to do?
No, click on the plus sign.
Ow. Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go.
It should get big on the plus sign. Yeah,
I'm doing it.
it's getting bigger and bigger. There you go.
Whew, lots of dots, I hope. I love
Well,
it.
you're in
People, you
Europe.
have to go over, find the globe on the first page, go to the bottom, and add the
Oh no,
little this.
no, you don't have to
You,
add anything.
you just click it.
You know, you're on the website. You've put a dot on it.
Oh, everybody get to the website. Look at
Scroll
this
back
thing.
up.
There we go. Oh, everything. So we're getting into another amazing topic. So when you get into, whatever topic it is that you're interested in, there's a whole slew of stuff here as well. Like, it's just never ending. It's amazing. I love it. I mean, I just keep it right here to the side because I want to go back and peruse it some more. So we'll just put this off right here. Wow. Wow, I love it. So, oh my goodness, everybody's chiming in. Hey guys, hello. Look at Dolly's got a big wow for you. Oh Michael, hello. I'll make sure I get everybody. so, I would like to touch on, if you don't mind, I mean, I could touch all over their website, but UFOs and spirituality. A lot of people would not think that the two go hand in hand. I mean, it goes back like a really long time, thousands of years at least, millions of years. Like,
Oh, well, actually, when you get right down to it, they may have been here before us.
yes, yes, I'm a big believer in that as well. I believe that we're probably the third or fourth kick at the can on this planet, on the grand scheme of civilizations.
Well, when you get right down to it, there have been at least 5 mass extinctions.
Yes.
And each time humanity or a species, let's call it just a species because there's no guarantee it was us, evolved into a civilization, and then another mass destruction happened and everything was wiped out. Now, if you go to somebody like Philip Lindsay, who's an astrologer,
Mm-hmm.
his theory is he has root races and that we evolve through the different root races. There are 7 of them, I believe. And that once we've evolved through the 7 root races, and at the end of each root race, there is mass extinction, not distinction.
Mm-hmm.
But every time you go through that cycle, you are spiraling through time, through evolution, through spiritual understanding of self and everything else. So, we may, as a spirit, have done that. Or um, they have recently figured out how old our DNA is, and it turns out our DNA is older than the planet is old. So, our DNA is older than the planet, so we had to have come from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you then step back and you say, okay, these human bodies are just a physical avatar, and our spirit, I believe in body, mind, spirit, body, physical, mind, the soul, what people call the soul, and the spirit. And at death, the soul and the body deteriorate, but the soul moves on.
Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, you know it there's no end to it.
Right.
And this is a spiritual experience for our soul, but it's not the only one, and it's not the last one, and it's not the first one. And so I think that, especially when you're looking at UFOs, you
Mhm.
have to think, well, if indeed there was a singular creator, source of all creation, uh, the divine. Notice I didn't say God because that limits.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so if indeed there was that source, is that source, and I believe there is,
I do as
and
well.
I believe that, you had Wally Wagner on the other day, and
Yes.
when I was talking with him, he started to talk about, he's biblically oriented,
Yes.
and I shoved him out of the biblical for a little while, and he kept saying, "Wow, that could
That's
be."
what
And
he said on the show last night. He did. He credited you with that. He's just like, boy. I loved it. So now I'm really excited, even more so. So it's wonderful.
but I believe, and my belief system, and it's going to be part of a book coming in the future, I guess, is that we are all seeds of the infinite, the source of all creation.
Yes.
And we have within us that seed, which is total and complete, just like a seed of a flower is.
Mm,
And that we are sent through time to evolve through millions, billions, maybe trillions of lifetimes
mm,
as the spirit grows, evolves, gathers wisdom, moves into new realms and new dimensions. The journey of the spirit is not to return to the source. The journey of the spirit is to break through into a dimension and become the source of all creation in that dimension.
that's really deep. So can you elaborate a little bit more on that? That's fascinating.
It just doesn't make sense for
Yeah.
us to grow through millions of lifetimes, gathering wisdom and everything, to return to the source that already has all the wisdom. That doesn't make sense.
You're right. No, yeah, you're completely right.
So where does it go? So it has to break through into a dimension where there is not already a universe created or a galaxy created or anything like that. So
Mm,
it has to be another dimension,
mm,
and our spirit will then become, because of all its growth, because of all its development, then it sends out seeds of creation,
mm.
and those seeds of creation create the new universe, galaxy, and whatever.
Right. Right. Well, it's a mouthful, but it really makes you think. It really makes you think. I completely agree with you. I think it's all about a continued evolution in one form or another. I think we're so limited because we're in this physical place that we forget where we come from. We forget who we are.
Yeah, and then people think that when they die, they go to a celestial rest home in the sky.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I guess at death you go where you think you're supposed to go, and then they slowly cue you in that you're not done with your journey.
Right.
Um,
And then some people cry and say, I don't want to come back. And other people are like, yes, I want to keep going.
well, and it doesn't mean you come to the earth plane.
See, this is where a lot, I think it's, again, we spoke about this with Wallace last night as well, conditioning.
Hmm.
We're so conditioned to believe one thing on an average, like again, and I will say, I'll say the religion word. Um, we stay within those boundaries, and we're afraid to step outside the box, and we do forget who we are and where we come from, and we think one thing: go to the light. You either go up, you go down, and
Yeah.
that's the end. And oh wait, maybe recycle back in, start all over again. And we are always here.
Well, that's it. I said to Wally, I remember when I was talking with him about this, after he get up off the floor, I said, you could be a green blob next lifetime.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Hmm.
A nice green blob, but that could be, but in this reality on the earth plane, religion has become a prison.
Yes, I'm
It,
glad you said it and not me, because I'm always getting like the mail. Why you just did on religion? I don't
mm,
really. Okay, I do. So,
I mean,
so I do.
it's it's solace for some people. It's their
Right.
way of life. It's exactly what keeps them going and makes them feel safe. And
Right.
I have friends who say, when I die, I'm going to go home, and I agree. They're going to go home, but then they're going to come back or go
Right.
forward or whatever.
And where is home?
You
That,
know,
you know.
but the thing is, if we have that piece of the infinite inside of us, if we
Mhm.
are already a fully evolved spirit, and I believe we are,
Mhm.
this journey through time is important for us to gain something, haven't the
Mhm.
faintest idea what it is. But
Right.
but we're
Because
experiencing things, and we have to be in the physical to experience them.
and it's rough here. Like, do we get brownie points? Seriously, it's just not an easy go on this earthly plane. Like, some people really, really struggle. I mean, that's a whole other show, but my word, it's not easy.
But it's karmic. It's something that they are balancing out from a past lifetime. It's
Right.
it's and karma isn't bad or good, it's
Hmm.
energy.
Right.
And if you have done something that was horrible, then at
Mm.
some point in time, that balance will come back into your life. And
Mm.
we've all been nasty people, and we've been good people. We've been saints and we've been sinners. We've
Right.
walked on water, and we've been burned at the stake. So there's a little bit of everything.
Hmm.
But this is the place where we get to feel the
Right.
actual effect of our behavior. If we're
Hmm.
in spirit, if we're in the etherical realm, you don't feel.
Hmm.
You may love emotionally and all of that, but
Hmm.
you don't feel what you do when you're on the earth plane. So if you look upon bad things as, ooh, what a challenge.
Mm.
You know, I can do this. Maybe. Yeah,
Caution to the wind. Jump in with both feet. Just do it.
it's kind of like every time I hit
Um,
something that feels disastrous, it's like, I wonder what I did to deserve this. And and
right.
and and then you take the spiritual into this lifetime and you say, okay, if this is in response to something I did when I was not quite so spiritual,
Right.
let's apply the spiritual element within me to this difficulty to see if I can mitigate it and make it better. And therefore, I can get on with things instead of saying, poor me, shoot, what have I done? I'll suffer through it. And no, I'm not going to suffer through anything. I will find a way to
Right.
make it better.
Right. I like you. I think that's brilliant. I'm gonna tap into a couple questions because the whole thing's right. We actually have 7 chat rooms all coming in. People, I'm not ignoring you. I just have 7 chat rooms, so I have to sort of bounce around a bit. Uh, Bart Sharp, hello, Bart. Would building a multidimensional awareness is a huge key to becoming your own source to expand the universe? I'll leave
If
that up for you.
um Sure, but the reality is, intellectually, as a human being, you can't do that. Your spirit can. And your spirit in the avatar, in the human avatar, um, is in many ways restricted by working through the ego.
Mm,
They get into battles all the time. The ego always loses, but
right,
but it tries. It keeps going. I have to admit that you give it
right,
credit, but ego only has this lifetime to draw from.
right.
So it doesn't have a frame of reference like the spirit does. So yes, building a multidimensional awareness is absolutely, yes, you can do that. You can
Right.
on a spiritual level do that. You can, let's face it, if you really get really in touch with the spirit within you, if you really can flow with it, you
Mhm.
can create holograms. And so a lot of times when people think they're talking to oh God, Saint Michael or Saint Anthony
Mm,
or whatever. What it is inside of them, they desire so greatly, they believe so greatly that that is
mm,
going to happen. They create the holograph. And
mm,
the cool thing is, when that happens, it means that the spirit has something they want to share with the intelligence, the consciousness,
mhm,
that you wouldn't say, "Oh, I've had a thought. That's good. Let me do it." But if they
right.
create a hologram who looks at them and says, "Oh, worthy spirit," yada, 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 you think, absolutely, I'll do it immediately.
Right.
So they're talking to themselves.
Right. Right. Second part of the question is, are you experiencing a form of multidimensional awareness? Just curious. Bart, you would.
Um, there are moments when,
Mm,
for instance, when I'm working on the handbook that I am not, it's coming through me, it's not of me.
right.
I mean, I can remember saying somewhere in the book about, there were many occupations coming and to feel free to experience all the ones that they were drawn to because it would be very exciting for them. And then in parentheses, I put joining the circus is not an option. That was
Right.
me. The other stuff
Right.
was spirit coming through, but I just felt, no, don't go joining the circus. That's ridiculous.
Right. Right. Next question. Do you have out of body experiences?
Sure, doesn't everybody?
Okay. Next question. Do you
No,
remember your out of body experiences?
no, seriously. I bet you there is not one person out there that hasn't been laying in bed at night and
Mhm.
suddenly they felt like they were falling
Right.
and
Yeah, it's
they were
happened.
coming back from an out of body experience.
Yes. Yes. Oh yeah, I've done that. I've done it.
Yeah.
I don't like that feeling of falling. I always feel like I'm landing on my head. Instead of feet first, it's like wait.
Sure, you brace yourself but by the time you're bracing yourself, you're back in.
Right, it's true. Dolly also asked, are you mastering your abilities?
I'm working on it.
Oh, lovely.
I think everybody is.
Hmm.
I was not a painter when I started doing the mandalas. Not a painter,
Right,
not an artist at all. And yet your
right.
definition of an artist is someone who gets paid good money for their paintings. And
Hmm.
wow, I did that. And then I did the cards. But
Yeah,
um that I still have all the oils and everything because I'd like to someday paint flowers, but I'm not there yet. But
right,
for a while, I really mastered the Mandela stuff because those things have energy that are unbelievable.
right.
Um, there are, I think it's important to figure out what your possibilities might be as far as talents.
Hmm.
Singing is not one of mine.
Clearly not. Book after book and decks and cards
Uh,
and 400-page how to do it. It's
yes,
just
well, but I
wow.
think when you're, and the thing is, it's when you're drawn to something, you don't have to be good at it. You just have to get joy from it. And if
Hmm.
you get joy from it, then 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 you're doing the right thing.
Right.
Um,
Yes, I
so
agree. Yeah.
I garden. I've always gardened, and I have had huge gardens. I mean, I'm 79 now. I no longer can get down on my hands and knees like once I could,
Right. I don't
and
even believe that you're 79. So
every inch of it. Um, but
right.
and that was a gift, and I
Right.
had little people in my garden. I the house I lived in
Oh,
before, um,
wow.
without realizing it, I had bought a house on a gravel pit, which has no soil.
Right. Right. Nice.
But I determined to
Mm,
have a garden, and I did. And after a year, it looked like it had been there for 20 years.
right. Right.
So, it's I don't know what mastering means. How do
I
you
guess,
equate mastery? Uh,
yeah. No,
I I'm
that's a
working
tough one.
I'm
Yeah.
working on a lot of what I consider my gifts,
Right.
and you know, I I would be foolish to say I have mastered anything because that means I'm ignorant of the fact that there's stuff missing.
You'll get there.
Yeah,
No,
I'll keep working, keep
it,
working.
like, do you look at the word master as similar to the word expert? You know, I often get called, you're an expert in your field. I'm like, there's no such thing as an expert in my field. But thank you. You know,
Yeah,
um,
I
s-
just I do a lot of things really good, but
yeah,
I wouldn't say I mastered any of them. I'm still working on it. I mean, I really believe if you don't continue learning, there's no purpose to the lifetime.
agreed. I say it. I learn something new every day. I make a point of it. I'm always saying it. Take the time to learn even one thing. It's amazing. How could you not want to learn? anything while you're here.
Well,
There's
yeah,
so much to learn.
and so yeah, I'm constantly stretching. I can remember somebody came into a place where I was having my hair done once, and she was selling these ruffle scarves,
Yeah.
the ones that, and she said, "Would you like to buy one?" And I said, "No, but I'd like to see the directions." And
No.
and I found the directions, and then I made 42 of them and realized I didn't have 42 friends, and I was in trouble.
Uh-oh. I don't know. I love it. The perseverance. So there is a place for UFOs as in respects to being a part of spirituality.
Oh yeah,
It's a constant, it's a constant evolution, and they're obviously miles ahead of us. But mind you, I think some of us have amazing people here who do amazing things. And
yeah.
I think maybe it's a fear-based thing because, again, conditioning.
Well, if you stop to think about it, they are, we as totally evolved humans,
Yeah, sure.
um, when we
Yeah.
when we discover a culture, especially in the Amazon or wherever, that has never been touched by humanity or what's going on in the world, we are very careful and we pull back and we
Mhm.
don't intervene or interfere with their development, with their culture,
It's
right?
kinda like the prime directive.
Exactly.
Right,
And so we take it on these fortunate tribes of people that have never seen a cell phone,
right.
and we step back and we don't get involved, and we just watch them as they grow.
Mm,
I think that's what the UFOs look upon us as,
right.
a very primitive culture.
That's really difficult because you have so many people out there who truly believe they're going to be saved. So, they're up there. Maybe, I don't know, are they drinking the Kool-Aid up on a mountaintop? Like we've all heard that story. Or do we have to save ourselves essentially?
Exactly. I mean, it's when you look at, I sometimes wonder, are we their reality TV?
It feels like it, especially the balloons lately.
Yeah.
I've
Are,
seen more memes with that.
are we the Flintstones for somebody that's a million years ahead of us?
Yeah.
Um, are the
Yeah.
glyphs we have all over the place just graffiti?
Mhm.
Um, I think that a lot of the Foo Fighters that were experienced during World War II were very much like the lasers we play with our cats. I don't think they had substance. I think they were etheric balls. They were energy, and it
Mhm.
was like a laser beam, and somebody was sitting behind the clouds,
Mhm.
with a little thing going to, let's chase those fighter planes and scare the daylights out of them. I mean,
Yeah.
it makes more sense.
Right.
I don't
Right.
I don't think they're here to hurt us. I mean, if
Right.
they were going to, they've had 43, 44, 120,000 years to do it.
I agree. I don't believe they're here either to do harm to us. Dolly is a very, well, I guess what we would call a conscious
Mhm.
contactee experiencer, and has had multiple. I mean, probably I would think Dolly is one of the only people I've ever met who is fully aware of going to different worlds and
Mhm.
things like that, and been taught a lot from a very time she was just a little thing. But I think right now there's again so much fear being put out there, and so much. I always worry about the whole false flag thing because we're becoming, I think, really comfortable with it. Everybody's, like I said, I say it all the time. Everybody's got one of these now. you know they
Mhm.
they can they can be out there, they can be having their own experiences, they can determine how they feel about that. And then you have, all of a sudden, government comes out and says, "Tell us your stories." We're like, "For real? Or are you just fooling with us?" you know, do we really want to tell you? It's just, between the whole religion thing and the whole government thing, you just don't really know which way to go with it.
No, and you don't know who's telling you the truth anymore. And I think that's why Ken, in his great wisdom,
Yes.
chose Roswell to be the place where we started to go backwards from, because prior to that, there hadn't been really the
Mm.
false flags. There hadn't been the hiding
Yes.
information. There hadn't been, nobody knew what was going on.
Mm.
So, it was a time when there was an innocence in the community.
Mhm.
And for the most part, there are some stories of people that were frightened and stuff like that, but for the most part, not so. And now I'm going to get the dates wrong because I don't have them in front of me,
Yeah,
and
that's
I have the
okay. We
book
won't
here,
hold
but
you to it.
in about 1889, in there was a flap of a lot of UFO sightings,
Mhm.
and one of them in Aurora, Texas. The UFO actually hit a windmill and crashed, and they sort of fixed it. It flew again, and then it crashed at the edge of the woods, and it burst into flame. And they thought that there were 6 passengers, but they only found the burnt body of one. And the people in the town. And it was a very small man. So, I mean, today we would probably say it was a gray, but I don't know. But anyhow, the pilot, we'll call him the pilot. They
Mhm.
took his body, they put it in a coffin, they had a funeral for him,
I know the story. I think
and
it's
they
amazing.
they buried him in their cemetery, and they did not mark the grave. And a number of years later, one of the agencies for the government wanted to go and exhume the body, and the people in the town would not tell them where it was.
Wow, I love that. I love that. It's just one more example, just much like the ancients who just coexisted, really famously, I would say, with these. I don't even want to say stellar because I mean, if they're here, you look at the Hopi talk about, their the ant people, their friends who lived, beneath
I
the
have a
earth.
I have a theory about that.
Ooh, love to hear it.
When they talk about the ant people, they have these drawings of these weird looking beings.
Yes,
I think they were called ant people because they lived underground, not because they were weird. They were just
right,
people that lived underground.
right.
And
Yes,
so, frame of reference wise, now we have created these monsters that
right.
that that didn't exist. Look at Kuyu. I mean, that
Mhm.
they have 13 levels or more that would hold over 5,000 people with their animals.
Yes, yes, I know. And there are so many other places like that.
Mhm. Absolutely.
You know, um, I think the ancient people emulated who they, what they saw and
Sure.
built monuments to those they respected. You've had, extraterrestrial races buried as pharaohs in tombs. Like
Mhm.
this isn't somebody that you fear.
No, but I don't think the Homo sapiens built any of those temples. I think they were built prior by
Right,
a culture that came before the flood.
right.
And
I believe many of them are, and how many are underwater that we don't even know about.
oh yeah, tons.
Yes,
So and
yes.
were they human? I don't know, because if you look at the steps in Mexico, those steps to those pyramids were not built for human feet.
No, they're huge.
Yeah. So
Well, I mean, I've
whatever.
I've climbed the Great Pyramid of Giza. I could tell you that was a feat. Like,
I can
so,
imagine.
yeah.
And there was a great deal a flap about the empty chamber in the Great Pyramid that was above the Great Gallery. And
Yes.
there was all sorts of, oh, I know who's buried there. I know what's buried there. It's empty.
I've been, yes, it is empty. There's nothing there. So there's nothing there.
Not even
But
dust.
no, no, no. It's an amazing building. I've been to
Hmm.
ancient places all over the world, and that one is an anomaly to me. Everybody's got a theory. I've had people on the show with their theories. In the end of the day, a lot of modern day academia is like, no, no, this is built by the Egyptian people, and maybe, but maybe a bit of guidance or a little bit of help, or you know. But if the Sphinx is older,
Oh yeah.
than pre-flood, then I'm thinking possibly so is the rest of the monuments. but
Well,
that's
yeah, I
just
would
me.
think so. Oh, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at even go back to the tepi, I mean, they
Yes.
they they
Yes.
buried their stuff. So there was a reason they buried it, and the Sphinx
Yes.
was buried too.
Yes.
So
Yes.
so it's kind of like, just what was that culture? And that's what's always, fascinated me. Not, you can't tell me that between now and 9,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago, all these monuments were built. Not the
Right.
case. Not the
No.
case at all.
Mm.
Because a lot of them, if you look into Cotterell's stuff, he's the one that has taken the pole shifts very seriously, and shown that where the poles were at different points in time in our
Mm.
in our history, going back 130 years, that the monuments were adjusted to those poles as opposed to the North Pole now.
Mhm.
So it's kind of fascinating that everything stops at 9, 12,000 years ago. Nothing was created before then,
Right.
and that's
Right.
such a pile of crap.
Well, they're finding it everything they're finding it now with technology. I mean, like I said, tons, under the desert sand. I mean, there's an archaeologist in, her name eludes me, but in Egypt, and she does everything through satellite now. They're finding all kinds of things underground, and
Hmm.
the oceans, come on, everywhere, pyramids underwater.
Yeah,
Look at the one off the Azores, that thing is massive.
is that the black? No, there's one in Alaska there's a
Also,
a black pyramid in the mountain.
yeah, but they tell you, "No, no, there's nothing there. No." Okay. Sure, let's go with no. Pictures. Giants walked the earth in those days. There's even rumors of giants in North America. Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, there were whole
Absolutely.
tribes of them.
Yes.
I mean, look at
Ex
the Nevada ones. The red-haired giants that they trapped in a cave and burned to death, and then many years later found them under the guano, and it was, the giants, the bones are there. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
And so what do you do? And actually the great thing about, well, great, I we have the powers that be have destroyed most of the giants that were in this country.
Right.
But um, what I find fascinating is a long time ago, 20 years maybe, I had a co-host on the show, and she and her family had red hair, or
Mm.
reddish hair. They all had six six toes and
Thanks.
6 fingers
Yeah.
and double
Yes.
rows of teeth. All attributes of giants, which
Yes.
would say that the DNA of the giants has come down through the centuries.
Yes. Yes. I'm completely in agreement with that. There's all kinds of information starting to surface.
Yeah.
It's all, in my opinion, it's always been there, but I mean, and we can thank the Smithsonian for that. I think, I just think the powers that be do not want us to think that we are this ancient. We had all these ancient civilizations. What would that do to religion and its beliefs? I'm saying it again, people. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't
Well,
shoot the messenger. It's out there. Just look it up.
well,
Right.
and see, that's what we have done all through time.
Yes,
I mean, I think the Bible is a really unusual book.
it
And
is.
and
Yeah.
if all you read is the red print, you're fine.
Right.
But the
Yes.
rest of it um, has been put together by a whole bunch of men trying to create a vehicle to manipulate people.
Yes. Well, again, we touched on this last night. What's in those Vatican archives? It's all
Oh,
information they have. That's what I'd love to see a book on. They have everything.
good luck on that one.
Oh, I know. It's like, oh, I'd love to see what's in there. Yeah, I can get lost in there for a while. That would be interesting, But it's a matter of being. We have to wake up.
Well,
It's time now. It's time
if
we
you
have
look
to.
if you look at some of the age-old traditions, and the two I can think of is the Vatican
Yeah.
and the House of Windsor. They're starting to crumble.
Yes.
and the respect that has been shown, and the amount of honor that we have given them in our lives. Um, I you look into history and you find that the Vatican helped Nazis escape Germany.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I mean,
Yes. There's a lot that
they were
people
supposed to
don't
not take
know.
sides, you know. I mean,
And I know. I
um,
know.
so, but the reality is they're human and they have human fallacies,
Right.
and so you can't. And for me, the issue with a pope is, if I want to talk to my creator, I will talk to my creator. I am not going through someone else,
That's right.
especially a man who wears slippers. So
During the daytime when he's out in public.
yeah, no, no.
So I know. I know. No, I'm in, complete agreement. I am one that believes, because I mean, I'm definitely very spiritual. Spent
Uh
time up in, Lily Dale's like one of my favorite places to go and decompress.
huh.
But I love it. And, I have friends there, and it's just such,
Well, that's a very cool place,
oh, it
and
is.
they
Yeah,
it's a refuge
it
for
is.
people who have a gift and a talent, and I can't
Yes.
remember what they call the big rock there where they have the
Inspiration
inspiration
point.
rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Yeah, it is. It's you, as soon as you walk into the place, it just exudes, this
Hmm.
amazing energy and history. And there isn't any real part of it where you don't feel good when you're there,
Well,
you know?
my first I studied for 7 years in the spiritualist church,
Hmm.
so very.
Yes.
I never went to Ros to Lilydale, but I was always going to, but I never did.
Oh, really? A great place to decompress. And I'm
Hmm.
just proud to have friends there. And it's an amazing place. I mean, even Abraham Lincoln,
Oh yeah.
spent time there, and Harry Houdini tried to debunk them, and it's so much amazing history. I love it. But but that's really cool too. They have ghost tours and all kinds of stuff.
Oh
It's a lot.
sure.
They're a lot of fun. It's just I love the outlook on everything, and I've worked with some amazing people there and met some amazing people there from all over the world. It amazes me how you can have a place where people come from all over the world
Hmm.
to convene.
And they talk your language.
They do. They
That's
do.
that's the cool thing.
It's universal. It's just amazing. Um, yes, Chris, we know he was a Republican. That's okay. He was still cool and into it. you know, I love it. But so getting back into Mark wants to talk about Houdini. Are you starting stuff, Mark? Okay, you lead, Mark. We'll follow along.
Oh
So,
goodness. Oh goodness.
oh, I know, I know. So, um, moving forward, like writing this book before Roswell, do you think? I mean, you've got all kinds of stories, in there. How far back do you go?
I think, as I recall, the last. No, I will flip through because um, the last um, thing that we had in here um, goes back beyond 270,000 years ago.
See, right there, right there.
Sumer.
Yes,
Um, so it's and actually, um, Ken and I have to give my late husband Patrick Cook credit for a lot of this
yes,
because Patrick had the website UFOs in the Bible before it was popular to have UFOs
right.
in the Bible out there, and he gathered a lot of this information. And when he passed away, I took what were not in his books and put them on my website so I could preserve them.
Yes.
Ken discovered the giant stuff, and I had continued to add to it. And Ken asked if he could use the material, and I said, of course.
Mm,
And then he called me again, and said, "Well, you want to write it with me?" And I said, "Sure," not knowing what that would entail.
right,
Um,
right.
and so we did it together, but on the foundation that Patrick laid so very long ago.
Mm,
And I mean, and you can tell by the website that there's a tremendous amount of information from Roswell forward
mhm.
as well. But had Patrick not started the collection, it wouldn't have given us the foundation to build on. And it was an exciting adventure. I discovered with him and with Wally. He interviewed me for his book, and I have come to so appreciate any author who writes anything, because he wrote the stuff down and then sent it to me to edit it, and I sent it back thinking, okay, that's done. And he sent it back to me again and
Oh.
again, and it got to the point where, how does anybody ever get anything published? There's always something you can revise.
Mm,
And happily, he did finally publish it. So
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad. But so this is like a real homage to your late husband as well. Like it's just keeping his memory alive and all this work that he's done.
oh yeah.
People don't realize, because I know Michael Carter's also been on and he's spoken in great um, lengths about UFOs in the Bible. I've done shows on that as well. People
Mhm.
don't realize, when the church is like, no, it doesn't exist, it's blasphemy. You're looking at ancient paintings, even like the
Oh,
crucifixion of
sure.
Christ, and there's a UFO right there. Like there's this is a pretty big deal. Like I think we're the only part of civilization that's ever been here. And I mean, I could be speculating because I wasn't here 20 to 30,000 years ago, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's everything, after Roswell ended up just falling apart.
Yeah, I know Michael Carter I've had on my show a number of
Oh,
times,
he's wonderful.
and
Yes, he's a dear
and it
friend.
was it was really funny the first time I contacted him, and he said he would do the show, of course. And
Yes, yeah.
he said, "Do you know much about the Bible and UFOs?" And I said, "Yeah, a little bit." And he said, "Well, maybe I ought to give you a little bit of background first." And I said, "No, I think I'm really okay." And he said, "No," and in his book, he thanks Patrick Cook for all of his work and everything. So, after he kept insisting he needed to give me background, and I said, "Michael, my husband's Patrick Cook." He said, "Never mind."
He's so sweet, though. He's a darling.
But what was even funnier was he and I went to the same college at the same time, that was like a block away from where I was teaching.
Synchronicities.
Yeah,
I love it. Meant to be. I
yeah,
love it. He's just absolutely wonderful.
he
He really
is.
is. You know, oh, okay, okay. I'm gonna ask. I don't know if this is gonna be your take on the Shroud of Turin. There you go
Well,
there.
it it has an amazing history. I think that a lot of the research done on it was done on the part that had been replaced and burned, and therefore wasn't appropriately um, dated. I think that I do believe that Jesus existed and he did his teachings. I believe that. I think he was a master.
Mhm.
And if you throw that word out there, um, I think it really is a shroud that wrapped him. I think it does exist. And I think that when his spirit left the body, it burned the image into the cloth. Totally believe that.
Right.
Now, I also believe that he was human. And I do believe that there are a couple of books out there now on the fact that they have discovered the family tomb of Jesus.
Yes. Really
And I've had the people on the show that did the discovery, both Charlie Pellegrino and James Tabor.
wonderful.
And the cool thing is they found the family tomb under a complex of condos. And in order, they got permission to go through the floor of the condo into the tomb, and they moved the people out of the complex and gave them a vacation for a month. And what I found fascinating was the Joseph of Arimathea buried Jesus in his family tomb, right?
Mhm.
The name of the family that they moved out was Arimathea.
Synchronicities.
Yeah.
We just keep going on about that.
Isn't that so cool?
It is so cool. It is so cool. Gosh. Yeah, I believed it was real too. Again, you have people testing this thing, and it always goes back to, again, academia. And I often
Well, they
wonder, do they want you to know?
well, they wanted to test a part of it that wouldn't intervene with the image, and I can
Of
understand
course.
that.
Yes,
But
yes.
there had been a fire. The silver had melted and burned the
Mm-hmm.
cloth, and nuns had meticulously replaced it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where they took their samples from. And um, I believe it is the shroud.
Right.
I
Right.
believe that his body was wrapped in it. I believe that his energetic when it left the body, and I believe that he was not dead when he was taken off the cross.
I'm with you there, sister. Let me tell you, yeah, yeah. Well,
There
that could lead into,
there
yeah.
there was a burst of energy, however, that did happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I believe he survived. I believe that he went to India,
Yeah.
and that's where his tomb really is.
Interesting.
And they called him Isa, and he was there for quite a while. Now, Mary went to England with Joseph of Arimathea, and they document her presence there as best one can over that period of time.
Yes. Yes.
So I also would believe that they both felt that they had a mission to complete, and that would be spreading the word and having people understand, that they have an essence within them that is part of the Creator.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you know,
Yes.
uh, and he was the son of God, the same way you and I are.
Mm-hmm.
We are a
Yes.
piece. We are a piece of the source.
Right. 100%. So a lot of everything we're being taught is like play on words.
Yeah.
Big time play on words.
Now I can walk on water. It needs to be frozen, but
Right.
still working on the liquid part.
Right. Technically, though, it's true.
Yeah.
You are. A little technicality, like, cold. So,
Yeah.
Michael says, any insight on crop circles and its rich history?
Yeah, they're really neat. They're very neat. I had the experience to be in one in Virginia a long time ago, and I found that they absolutely there is, I call it magic. You smell ozone in the middle of the circles, like you would if lightning had struck. The same feeling of almost being under a cone of silence is in them. Now, the one I was in was not anywhere near as intricate as they are today.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that the crop circles today are messages from us in the future,
Oh,
and that they're interdimensional as well.
right.
That's why they happen so fast. I because there was one not too long ago that was done of of a gray, and then a circle of binary code
Yes.
that warned us
Which,
about you know people lying and whatever.
mhm.
Um, and the same type of a message sort of came through. Are you familiar with the Rendlesham Forest? Um,
I am. I am.
Jim, I always mispronounce his last name, Patterson, whatever it is. His first
Yeah.
name was Jim. Um,
Right.
when he touched the drone, and it was a drone of some sort, he was downloaded with binary code that he wrote down, and later it was translated. And it basically said that the human condition, was ongoing, and eyes of your eyes, and source of origin was 8,100 years,
Wow.
which means it was from the future.
Right. Right.
And at first I thought, isn't that great? We're here in 81 years. And I said, wait a minute. They said the human experience. Are they watching humans as we evolve, devolve, and become something else? Or is the human species wiped out and something else takes place
Hmm.
um, later on down the road? You know,
A
we're only in
lot
the
of
we're only in the
that's
2000s.
yeah.
8,000, 6,000 years from now, a lot can happen.
You think we're gonna be around that long? Yeah, there's a lot
Well,
of people who think not so much. I don't know.
well, according to everything, there's probably going to be well, the way things are going now, it can happen any moment for heaven's
I
sakes.
agree. Yeah.
But I somehow don't think it will happen. I think there will be a third world war, but I don't think it will be nuclear.
Uh,
Well,
I,
listen, if they're trying to grab territory, why pollute it for thousands of years?
exactly. You just eliminate the source of yeah, yeah. Can go there, but oh boy, you end up with I'll end up with a lot of hate mail. Just because of what we've just been through, people are
Sure.
real sensitive about it. Um, yeah. What about what's your take on maybe like a natural disaster happening to the planet?
Well,
Meteorites or solar flares or things like that.
some think that the mass extinctions that have taken place prior were a comet passing the Earth, not hitting, but passing,
Passing it right.
and then destroying our equilibrium or whatever.
Mm,
I don't agree with that. I think we've been hit by comets that have created tsunamis that have, shifted
mm,
the core of the planet so that the poles shifted, the whole thing.
mm-hmm.
And from what I've read and the people I've talked to, and I'm so fortunate because I get to find experts in all sorts of fields and then talk them into tutoring me for 2 hours for free.
I love it.
So
Mm,
and then recently, to me, it seems that these shifts of the crust
mhm,
they've taken place immediately, and
mm.
sometimes the crust has moved as much as 2,000 miles.
That's substantial.
So
That's very substantial.
obviously, a lot of structures are not going to exist that kind of shift.
No, 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 no. Well, I guess all we can do is wait and see. Like I said, we're not the first kick at the can. We won't be the last kick at the can.
No.
So, as Michael says, the future affects the past. Yes, interesting. There are. I'm going to assume he's trying to say plasma
Hmm.
burns on megalithic structures throughout the world, showing an actual degree on a compass of directional incoming superheated plasma, repetitive cyclic apocalypses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm,
I mean, the planet has, it's a planet for heaven's sakes.
right.
It's floating out there amongst tons of cosmic garbage.
Yes.
Of course, we're going to get hit,
Right.
and the fact that we haven't been hit, I mean, look at the crater off the Yucatan Peninsula. That was a huge one,
Mm,
and there have been a couple in the middle of the Atlantic as well that have caused
yes.
mass destruction. So it can happen. I mean,
Mm,
people talking about global warming,
mm,
that's BS.
yes.
This planet has gone through cooling and heating up and cooling and heating up for millions of years.
Mm,
And it has nothing to do with cow flatulence.
right.
Nothing.
You listening out there, people? Oh, I know. I know. Yeah. That's one of those topics that you have the 50-50 on,
Mhm.
and I always say I'm like Switzerland. I just don't want to get in there. I'm just gonna stay neutral. And with that said, I have to do a sponsor station ID. This is actually the work part
Oh, go for it.
of the interview. Yeah. So for everyone who is just tuning in, you are listening to The Outer Realm, and our guest tonight is Barbara DeLong, who's just fascinating. She's just seriously, you have to go on her website,
Give me a
barbaradelong.com, and
dot.
give her a dot. Okay. We showed it. It's streaming across the bottom. So go check it out. You'll be lost in there for hours. Believe me, I speak from experience. I've done it. So anyhow, tonight's show is fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee. We're so grateful for them. They sponsor us for both nights, and they go a year in advance. So they must love us. We must be doing something right, but we love them right back just as much. Also, big thank you to Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, the voice and the music behind the intro and the outro. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween horror and sci-fi electronic music. Also, big thank you to illustrator Steve McGinnis for all of the artwork you see for The Outer Realm. So we're very appreciative of him as well. We are broadcasting live on United Public Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM in the city of New Orleans. So I've done the hard part. Now we can come back to the fun.
I
So,
just
yes.
noticed my cat.
Oh, your cat's been just like photo bombing the show all night. It's awesome. He's laying back and giving us all kinds of moves.
Oh God.
Oh, I love it. Are you kidding? No, some guests bring the cats right on. It's just, or cats, dogs. It's great.
They have been known to do that. So
I love it. I love it. We encourage it. So what's next? What are you looking at doing next? I've got more questions coming in. I'll have to get to, but you're
well,
like
the handbook on the deck of cards is really a love. I'm
Right.
having it's a struggle. I'm interpreting for one of the layouts. I'm interpreting it, and it means that for every card, I have to be able to answer the same question for every card in that particular layout. It's
Right.
it's boring as hell.
Right.
But it's different, and I realize that if somebody is actually utilizing it to create a reading for themselves,
Right.
it's probably very powerful.
Right.
But it's been interesting. It stretches me, which I love.
Mhm.
And yeah, I've said a number of times it's not the book I had intended to write, but that's coming.
I think you just sort of led, you just led to it. You just go with it. I mean, the powers that be, the universe, it'll guide you where you have to go.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's when I painted the cards, I think I existed for 9 months on about 2 hours of sleep a night, and I was never more energetic. I was never tired.
Right. Right.
It was amazing. And that's what's happening with this. I can't
Right.
go to sleep at night. My head is still working.
Wow.
And it's like, no, enough,
Right.
I'm old. Let me sleep.
I know. Go away. Go away. We're just going to jump into a couple more questions before it
Okay.
starts to go up. What does Barbara think about channeled entities like Seth, channeled by Jane Roberts?
I think that what she was channeling was her higher consciousness that she named Seth. I think she had a direct link to cosmic consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as humans, not only are we reluctant to buy the fact that this amazing material is in us,
Mm-hmm.
but we know that no one else will buy it. So that if we give it a name, it's true channeled material, it's absolute. It is, I call it channeled. Somebody said that was antiquity. It should now be called streaming. So I guess I am definitely ancient.
Right.
But Jane, her material was absolutely dead on.
Right.
And
that's Mark. Yes, the cat's putting on quite the show in the back.
that's just one of them. There are two.
Right.
So So
Mm,
I think, Seth was is a part of her.
hmm.
I don't think it's an entity. I think it is her link to higher consciousness, which is pure and absolutely 100% spiritual.
But you think she would know that? You would think that she would know the difference,
She probably did.
right?
If I
Right.
was going to now don't forget she's a different time frame here, but
Yes.
there was a time frame where I said to somebody that I was dating at the time that maybe I should become a trans channel. Now I can channel, but
Right.
trans channel is another ball of wax.
Right.
And he said, "Well, isn't everybody taken?" And I said, "Oh no, tons of people channel Michael, but I don't want to channel somebody that everybody else does." And so
Hmm.
I said, "So if I'm going to take on the persona of a channel, and Ramtha was taken by Jay-Z Knight, and I thought I will channel Melchizedek. Nobody's channeling him yet." Um, but I couldn't keep a straight face.
So it just wouldn't work then.
I am a channel. I am not a trans channel.
Right. Right.
I'm too nosy. I will take responsibility for everything I say.
Right.
A
It's still
a trans channel doesn't have to.
right.
It was, oh, I wasn't here.
Right. We'll leave that right there. When doing readings, do you feel the cards and their meanings change with different people and their personalities, which affect the readings?
Absolutely.
Right.
The cards, as you use them,
Hmm.
become you. So the more you use them, the more that you absorb what they mean to you and you utilize that meaning. And
Hmm.
of course, if you are genuinely reading someone's energy, you're getting information for that energy and that's what you give them. But the cards open the door.
Right. Mm. There we go. There we go. Watch for those cards coming out. With Seth and Jane. Oh, okay. Well,
Well, no, wait, I agree with you, but I don't. Jay-Z Knight, when she started, was absolutely authentic. And she found that she could fake it well. And once you start faking it, the genuineness goes. So originally she was absolutely authentic. Towards the end, not so much. Not when a spirit tells you to invest in something or to do something for someone, that is going to cost you. No, that's not channeling. That's
that's
manipulation.
that's right. That's interfering.
And
Yes.
and Seth, absolutely, absolutely, 100%.
Right. Okay. There you go, Chris. So, all right. Oh, still coming in. Okay. He went to the dark side. Jay-Z went to the dark side.
She
Hmm.
did. She did.
Yeah. That's a lot of the greats go that way, unfortunately.
It's a very hard thing to not do.
Right.
When you have a gift that makes you so unique, people are in awe of you.
Hmm.
It's hard. It's hard to keep your feet on the ground. I,
Hmm.
I fortunately have a ton of people around me that'll tell me I'm full of crap. So, you know, it keeps me very sincere.
Well, you just come on this show. We'll just keep praising you. I seriously, I do. I love your research. I love your point of view and how you explain everything. And I think people who have real questions, there's just so much spinning of information out there.
Oh yeah.
It's just so hard. I mean, we're online, but people are like, well, if it's on the internet, it must be true.
Well, with
What?
when the deck and the book come out,
Hmm.
there will be a website for the deck and the book, and
Hmm.
there will be what I am calling a seeker forum, so that if they have questions, spiritual or about the cards or
Hmm.
whatever, I'll be happy to answer the questions right on the website.
Right. Perfect. So once the deck is released, where are they going to be able to grab this wonderment of
Um,
400?
oh well, the book will be on Amazon. The cards are
Yes.
at a different publisher, but
Okay.
but that will be released when we get there.
Yes. Right.
It's, it'll all be released together and along with a website so
Right.
that my website, barbaradelong.com,
Mhm.
is not a retail website. I don't sell
No.
anything on it.
Right.
So I won't put anything for sale on it.
Mhm.
So I've created a separate website for
Oh,
the
it's
cards in the
great.
deck.
So when you come on in August, it will already be out, and we can share that information
Oh
up
yeah.
with everyone. Wonderful. Yeah, I know she's coming back on in August. So we have a lot of things to talk about. So so then basically just again getting back to the whole UFO research. 'Cause I know we're
Okay.
bouncing around a lot there.
It's okay.
Um, but I know our people love UFO stuff. So I'm going to touch again on the spirituality a
Sure.
little bit. There are different races of beings
They say.
that they say. That's where I was going. Do you think, I mean, when you're looking at a place for them being in, um, most people know grays. I could see a lot you have light beings, you've got all of this slew, like Paul Hillier has said at one point there were like, what, 130 something races of extraterrestrials or, terrestrials.
Hmm.
Um, but when you're looking at, I don't want to give the reptilians a bad rap, but let's face it, I don't really picture them as being overly spiritual, but I could be wrong. Am I wrong? Tell me, Barbara. It's like,
The grays probably exist. I don't
mhm,
know if they're from the future. I don't
right.
know
If
if,
they're us in the future,
yeah, they could be us in the future for all I
yeah,
know.
yeah,
And Nordics make sense.
right,
Um,
right.
but when you get into reptilians and
Mm,
green blobs,
green
um,
blobs.
I think you're in science fiction.
Really?
I do.
Wow. Okay. Oh boy, we might have some people out there going, "What? What about the royal family?" I could go on forever with this stuff. Believe me. It's like,
Well, yeah,
uh,
same here. I do
yeah.
believe that. Okay, let's look at, different
Hmm.
planets may well have different environments
Hmm.
that may well require a different physicality or
Mm,
whatever.
yeah.
There was at one time, were at one time, people on the surface of Mars. Now they're underneath the surface, but they're still there.
Hmm.
Um, I believe mostly they're humanoid,
Right.
with some variations. If you look at the Indian um, illustrations,
Mm,
their aliens are green. And if you look at a lot of the pictures in a lot of the Egyptian temples, they have
they're
green skin.
green. Yes.
So I can see how the color of the skin
Hmm.
easily could change because of environment,
Hmm. Hmm.
because of environment. We have different colors here on the planet already.
That's right.
So it wouldn't be a stretch of the imagination to have beings from another world, planet, whatever.
Hmm.
But again, I think that we're in quarantine on this planet. I truly believe it. Um, Now you look at Billy Meyer, and I do believe Billy Meyer has been in contact with some sort of alien culture.
Right.
Um, and I recently did a show with someone who disagreed with me.
Mm.
Um, Not going back to that
The
one,
nerve.
but
Yeah. Right.
yeah,
Yeah, we're not appreciated. So.
but his material, the bulk of his material, the books
Mm.
that he has channeled through. I mean, he's a very simple man,
Hmm.
but the books that he's written have clearly been channeled by an intelligence that is greater than his.
Right.
So
Right.
I do believe that there are aliens, but I truly believe that there is a non-intervention around this planet. I believe we are too barbaric to be able to
Mm.
blend in with the cosmic brotherhood.
Wow. That's pretty intense. I mean,
Look at us. We can't even get along in this.
this is true.
I mean, really.
Yes.
I mean,
But to think we're quarantined is almost frightening. The prison planet, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and with
Yes.
just cause. We would be a cancer in a society that had
Mm.
found a way to peacefully coexist.
What are your thoughts on hybrids?
Um, well, I do believe there are some, but not
Mm.
as many as people think.
Yes.
I think that I do believe that there are probably aliens walking among us that are watchers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And as far as the book that I'm writing for the cards, it's for the seekers. I do believe there are people here who are seeking seekers, who are looking for others of a spiritual mindedness
Right.
and are looking for spiritual information that they can't find in any of the books out there.
Right. Right.
So,
Mm.
does that make them special? No, it makes them unique.
Right. No, I like that.
Yeah.
What about, when you're looking at statues, the Anunnaki, ancient Sumerian kings, you've got these reptilian sort of, um, entities, beings holding, like, the female holding the baby. She's full on,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah, look at Mengele and what he did.
Mm, yeah, true enough. Oh, okay. Oh, hold on. I want to get this up. Hold on. Here it comes. Here it comes. Just because while we're on the topic, the problem I have with Billy Meyer is his photos. I think he had knowledge, but did he fake the photos?
I think he faked the photos.
There you go.
But I do believe that he is talking to um, aliens of some sort. And what I found fascinating was at one point they showed, I was watching something on Hitler and they were showing the psychics that helped Hitler. And
Mm,
one of them had blonde hair pulled back, and they showed that the picture of that psychic to Billy Meyer, and he said, "That's Semyasi. She's someone that has worked with me over the years." And he identified the psychic with the Germans as the alien that had been working with him to learn.
hmm.
So, spit an image, spit an image.
Well, yeah, they're out there.
Well, they are, and I think that it wouldn't surprise me if
Mm,
any alien culture had some, emissaries that were here, not to
mm,
change humanity, but to watch humanity.
right.
I mean, we're going to do what we're going to do. There's
So,
free will.
yeah, absolutely on the free will. What are your thoughts on exopolitics? Do you think they're like way out there? I asked the same question last night. The space fleet, you know, everybody's, I mean, ancient civilization on Mars. You're seeing a lot of, are we looking at pareidolia or are we actually seeing ancient monuments that resemble what we're seeing here? The moon, the same.
Well, the moon's hollow. It rings. You know,
Exactly. Yes.
you dump a space, module on it, and it rings.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
hollow.
Yes.
So I think
Death Star people
that
watching us.
um,
Yeah.
I think that there are bases on the dark side of the moon.
Yes.
I think that Mars did have a civilization there. It lost its atmosphere. I don't know why or how,
Hmm.
but it lost its atmosphere. But I do believe there is a civilization still inside of Mars. And Mary Joyce, if you have never had
Oh,
her
she's been on
on,
the show. Yeah,
okay,
she's a hoot. Oh yeah. Yeah.
she has found entrances into Mars and the moon
Yes.
that are quite obviously there.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's sort of like Antarctica. I do believe there is a culture. There's a culture there. There's a society there.
Yes.
I'm not so sure about Hollow Earth stuff, but
Hmm.
I do believe Antarctica has something going on there that, well, let's put it this way: Admiral Byrd got his, He got turned around and sent home with his tail between his legs.
He did. And let's face it, I mean, it's pretty heavily guarded considering.
Well, and when you stop to think about it, we have our little huts on the surface, but there
Mm,
are also places that are no-fly zones. Why?
yeah, exactly. Yes.
There are
Yeah.
openings in the snow that are big enough for a ship to flow into.
Hmm.
There's a lake there that is it's melted. It's a lake on the surface.
It is. And look at the huge ice shelf that just dropped off last year. That
Yeah.
doesn't just happen.
Nope.
There's definitely something that's happening there.
I
So,
think there's enough strange stuff among us without
mm,
aliens
mm-hmm,
chirping in.
mm-hmm,
And it just I won't touch politics, but
same.
it
Mm,
but it
yeah.
just seems to me that we have been held in the dark for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I do know there is a cure for cancer that's not been shared with us. I do know that
Yes.
Tesla invented a free
Yes.
electricity, free
Yes.
electricity that
Yes.
they would rather charge us for instead of giving us the free stuff.
Right.
I don't know why they don't put up Tesla towers now.
They have other plans with other towers. Let's just leave that right there. That's why.
It
Just saying.
with all of us struggling so with the money situation,
Mhm.
why not share with us some of the stuff they've got? Who are they saving it for?
Well, future generations of select people, I would think. At the end of the day, that's the big question. This is I think we have these people here with us, almost like overlords. It's just like darn wardens. If we're on
Well,
the prison planet, we're in trouble.
I know it's going to sound a little conspiracy theory-ish,
Let's wait. Let me get my tin hat. I want in. So-
but you can't tell me that 23andMe and Ancestry.com were looking for DNAs just to plot your family, whatever.
Thank you. I say it all the time.
They were looking for DNA, and then when the pandemic hit,
Specifics. Yeah,
they were swabbing for DNA. They weren't swabbing to find out if you had a cold or not. You were probably sneezing all over them, so they know you had one.
that's
But
right.
they're looking for a DNA grouping of some sort, and I don't know why.
Mm. I've had other guests who have been on who have mentioned things like this, and where they just message me privately with stuff, and I'm just kind of like going, "I knew it, I knew it."
Yeah,
So there's a definitely really strong theory that there's something going on, and it's something else that's coming. But I'll sidetrack from that since I can't really say very much about it. But what about negative blood types?
yeah, they don't know where they came from.
Exactly. Are they looking for, how many?
The Rh negatives.
Yeah, I wonder.
Well, there have been people that have, suggested that they are the survivors of Atlantis,
Right.
and there was a while back where I really thought that Atlantis was not really an island.
Hmm.
It was a mothership that ran out of gas. And
Oh, I
and
love it. That's true.
that it landed
Yeah.
there, and in order to hide itself, it
Yes.
terraformed itself,
Yes.
created a culture, sent out people looking for the gas station,
Right.
and they were there for, a couple thousand years maybe.
Hmm. Right.
And when they finally found what they needed, they fueled up and they took off, leaving behind emissaries that had been sent out all over the world looking for cultures that could understand what they were talking about. And
Right.
those are the people that mastered the stone stuff and built the pyramids and stuff.
Right. I
That's
I I've heard this, and I'm always like, yes, it's the only thing that makes sense to me. It's true. That's
you
why
know
you can't find it. You can maybe find remnants of it, remnants.
Well,
Something lands somewhere over a period of
nah, it was.
hundreds of thousands of years.
But you look at then the petroglyphs of Mu.
Hmm.
They
Yes.
have some interesting stuff. And then her next book, the lady that wrote the petroglyphs of Mu,
Hmm.
also is writing a book on non-medal. And non-medal was created to be an indication as to where Mu sank, and
Hmm.
Mu was what birthed Atlantis.
That's a whole other show that
Uh,
I would totally be into doing. This is fascinating.
that's according to her, and
Right.
it
Right.
makes sense. I like my ran out of gas better.
Yeah. It's simple. Definitely, we can get our heads around it because otherwise you're going up the ladder even further up.
Hmm.
Tamara says, "What if we are the aliens and we were dropped here?"
Oh, we were dropped here, and there was a theory a while back, um, which I semi laugh at, in that there was a spaceship that was going through time, through dimensions, through whatever, and they came to this solar system and they realized that it probably wasn't populated by any, so they dumped their holding tanks. And you know what a holding tank is?
Yes.
Okay.
Here we
And
go.
that land that landed on Earth, and we're the result of their holding tanks.
See, there we go. I believe that. We're so diverse.
Yeah.
We're so diverse. It completely makes sense that the Egyptians come from Atlantis. I believe. Yeah, I believe some of them. If they did send out,
Yeah.
emissaries.
I think if you're going to create a culture to disguise yourself, you're going to send out emissaries,
Hmm.
and so that some of them were probably in Egypt, some of them were absolutely in South America. South America is the only place I believe that, going back 230,000 years, that never had an ice sheet. So that area has been free to develop without being interrupted for hundreds of thousands of years.
Right. Right. I could go on and on and on. I just love it when things are just laid back and flowing. Everybody's just chiming in. I love it. We have an amazing chat room. So I'm just going to put this up just so it's there and people can see it. Okay, we're heading up to the top of the hour. So what would you like to let me tell everybody where to buy the books? When do you expect your deck and handbook handbook to be coming
Yeah, both
out?
hands, please. Is that big?
Yeah, it's a
Um,
big book. Yeah.
Probably June, hopefully, and
Okay.
and before Roswell. We put it together, and I had read through it, and I've read through it a number of times, and I have to say, it's a delightful book in that I think it should be in schools, because if you taught history that played off of the different UFO experiences,
Mm,
people would remember the history. I mean, and I'm not saying do away with history. I'm saying
yeah.
incorporate the UFO stuff into it so kids will remember it.
Mm.
Um, it's a really cool book. It's pardon the expression, but it's a great bathroom book.
Who says that about their own book? Sorry. Of course. Oh no. Well, people will go and check it out. I know it had me intrigued. I definitely wanted to, at least touch on it and bring it in the forefront. Lastly, Chris, you're on a roll. How does Barbara's deck differ from the other decks? Is it a tarot deck or is it something else?
Well, tarot means card. So in the greatest stretch of everything, it is tarot, but it is
Right.
not, because I didn't want to conform to any modality that was already out there.
Mm-hmm.
So this deck has, instead of the traditional ones, it has, I renamed all the chakras because I couldn't pronounce them. So it has the chakras, it has cosmic laws, it has universal energies, it has the astrology signs. Um, the first three groupings were all 11. So you have master numbers here, of 11, of 22, and of 33. And then you have uh, different ways of utilizing them, and it's meant to be a modality in which you are allowing yourself to spiritually expand into the awareness of what's already out there and has been out there for a tremendous amount of time, and yet nobody's paying attention to them. I mean, the law of
Mm,
cause and effect, the law of attraction, the law of
mm,
karma, universal spirituality, all of
mm.
these aspects that go into the making of our character, and so the deck is more for your self development and self awareness. Can you prognosticate? Yes,
Mhm.
but you can. But that's and with the different spreads I give, there's one that incorporates everything into it. And then once you've been through all of the different kind of ways you can utilize the deck, past, present, future, body, mind, spirit. You can read it according to the months of the year. You can read it according to time. You
Mhm.
can, but the coolest part of it, once you've exhausted all of those, and trust me, I have gone through doing everything with somebody, and it was an 8-hour reading. The best part of the reading was looking at the cards that were not drawn, because those are the aspects you're avoiding this moment in time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get over the 8 hours, but yeah, looking over all of that, that's phenomenal. You don't think to do something like that, you know? Covering all your bases again. Look, oh, well, okay, Chris, you're just gonna have to tune in August when she tells you where to get them. So,
You can look for the deck. It's we can't find it anymore. It's just
right,
not out there.
right. But you
But
wouldn't have the handbook anyway.
no, but they will be coming shortly. And they're what I love about it is they're not circular, they're hexagon, which makes it so unique.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think I've ever seen a hexagon deck.
I haven't either.
Yeah, kudos to you for bringing that out.
Well,
So,
it was the only circular deck published. It was the second circular deck published when it came
right,
out
right,
in '92.
right.
So
I'm
now it.
definitely going to get a deck. No, I don't read, but I have people in my life who like to give themselves readings every morning before they start their day.
I
And
have I have a friend who is a musician, and he draws a card every day, and he bought the deck at Pikes Peak 20 years ago, and
wow,
he uses the
wow,
deck still. So
wow.
it gives you insight. It gives you into, if you draw one card, this is something to pay attention to today.
Mhm. I like it. I like it. And I already have two people on my list who are going to get them for Christmas.
Oh, cool.
I know the price, and they're going, yeah, they know who they are. They know who they are. Well, thank you so much for indulging me with all my. I'm extremely laid back tonight, so this is a lot of fun because usually I just, but it's just you're so informative. You're just so delightful to speak with and to listen to. I always learn something, when people come on the show, and it's just you completely draw me in, and I thank you for that.
Oh, my
And
pleasure.
thank you. So thank you, and thank you to everybody in the chat room. I can't keep getting no more questions. I'm saying no more questions. Don't put any more in. So I know. But thank you, and I will be in touch with you, and I will get you links and things like that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. A pleasure. Believe me, a pleasure. Thank you. Well, guys, we have come to the end of another fantastic segment here on the Outer Realm. Again, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to everybody in chat. Thank you to the network. And remember, we have podcast awards coming up. Vote, vote, vote. Anyhow, next week. Sorry, guys, I'm just a bit scattered tonight. I'm still in the whole Barbara DeLong mode. So Wednesday night, the Outer Realm for the very first time is going to be welcoming all the way from the UK, Colin Saunders, and he's going to be discussing his new book, Triangular UFOs of the United Kingdom. And what's inside, you might ask? Well, he's got over 130 encounters from different people, stories, experiencers who have had experiences with triangular UFOs, which includes missing time, men in black, all the traditional fun stuff. So tune in for that. It's UK week next week, by the way. Thursday night, we welcome the return of Mark Ollie, who's going to be discussing his newest book, The Polychronicon of Merlin, Joseph, and Arthur, which is a product of decades of research on the Arthurian, for those who don't know, King Arthur legend. I mean, this is a big book, and I think he said something like, I don't know, 40, 50 years of research. That's some resilience right there. That's all I'm going to say. Anyhow, so tune in for that. I think it's going to be great. Mark is just like delightful, and you guys will love him. So have a good weekend. Hopefully Bubbles will be back with us next week, feeling better, and try to behave yourselves so we can get everybody back in chat, doing a roll call. Anyway, take care, guys. Have a great weekend.